All right. Ruben Amorim has fired the last warning to all the players of Manchester United. And guess what? It comes after United has gone ahead to obviously have some very bad games in the recent past. And as far as he's concerned, others fear that with him being furious, maybe he has gone ahead to get a warning from his bosses that maybe he might be losing his job, something that I don't obviously accept and I really admit. So welcome to this channel. It's the United Matters channel. How are you guys? And are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rock and David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on the stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And it's obviously the 14th of April, and we are left with some good, I think, 16 days to end this month, and that's why we are really coming closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to the summer transfer window. That's why such warnings are really coming in through from the people around Ruben Amorim. And today we've obviously gonna hit gate a very huge update from Sally Talks. He's one of those that gives his own views in there for you, and he works at the Century Devils. He has told us that Amorim was fuming this morning. He cancelled a meet and greet with kids and ordered an emergency first team meeting. The players were given a huge telling off. No one dared to speak. The message was clear. You have until the end of the season to fix up or you are out. Now, this comes in through when Ruben Amorim has had what we call a very bad season. Remember, he came in through on the 10th of November, and out of maybe the 10 months, because if you are to count the months that a manager spends throughout the season, you have to count from August to September. That is 1 month. Then October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Those are 9 months, that a manager spends in there for you. Or let's say 10 months. Out of the 10 months, Ten Hag was here for August, September, and October. And for November, December, January, February, March, April, May, all the remaining 7 months he has been charged, meaning that he has been charged for the club of Manchester United for the lion's share of the season, and nothing has gone ahead to change in as far as results. I think this is the worst ever United season in Premier League history, because the worst we had was last season when we went ahead to finish 8th, but we qualified for the UEFA Europa League, a tournament that has gone ahead to give us a lifeline of really playing the Champions League, provided we knock out Lyon in there. So, Man United, I think the bosses are unhappy. Why? He came in through, that is Ruben Amorim, and I think he promised the bosses that I can change everything. And this is where everything really gets ugly, because you make those promises, your bosses will come out and really back you in the media, even if you're really performing badly, as they did to Eric Ten Hag. But time reached and they went ahead to obviously sack him. You remember that very well, not so? So I think he's feeling the pressure, if at all we are to come out and really lay it outside there very well. That's why he has gone ahead to obviously fume these players and tell them that, please, it's your last chance to obviously play here, because yesterday we lost to Newcastle by 4-1, and at a certain point X, the game was about 1-1. You remember that very well. But then later, Newcastle scored 3 more goals that went ahead to make a very big difference between Manchester United and the side of Newcastle. So that's how things went ahead to pan out and really let United really suffer there. So after that game, the manager, he was like, I have to film at these players, and he's like, if you don't do this, you're obviously gonna find yourself sold. But I don't find that threatening enough, because most of these players have had such warnings before at the club of Manchester United. If you know, you know, and they'll obviously have to just look on and really say, you aren't the first manager in here. Very many have come in through and gonna obviously get sacked. And they say what you're saying. So that is one of the things that cannot really resonate with exactly what the club wants. And it was caused by the people at Manchester United, especially the Glazers and Ed Woodward, because they never really catered so much at how they can look after this club. They were like, no, let's get it, provided we get in money, you know. That's what they did. That's why most of the times United spent a lot of money every time they never qualified for the Champions League, because it was a money venture. When they qualify for the Champions League, they don't spend big in the summer transfer window. And when they don't qualify for the Champions League, they used to spend a lot of money because they wanted to get in players that would obviously take them back to play into the Champions League. And to show you that it's really sickening at the club of Manchester United, even Roy Keane yesterday, after United lost to the side of Newcastle, this is what he had to say about Ruben Amorim. When he said that Ruben Amorim caught out, he said, I think the Premier League has caught this manager and his coaching staff out. I know people do their homework before they go to a club, but I think he's gone in there and has been shocked at how bad this group of players are. You don't know the quality of a group of players until you get into the door and start working with them. Of course, you do your little bit of homework from the outside looking in, and you would have a bit of pride and ego thinking you could improve the players. That's a manager's job. But over the last couple of years, the recruitment has been about bringing in players that haven't played in the Premier League, and it seems to have caught a lot of them out. They can't seem to cope with the demands. The physical side of the game and the lack of goals is a huge problem. In the past, United have always been entertaining, and you would think good for a goal. But with 15 minutes left at St. James's Park, the game was over. There is nothing wrong with losing football matches. Great teams lose football matches, but sometimes it's about the way you lose. In the second half, it was nowhere near good enough. It's easy for the manager to say focus on Thursday, but you have to look at today and this group of players, a bit of fight, a bit of spirit. They are lacking in quality, pace and power, but my goodness, show some fight. And they didn't do that enough in the second half. So, obviously, we all know the problems at Manchester United and the quality of players that we have. But Ruben Amorim firing a last warning to these players doesn't mean that it's obviously going to happen as he wanted, because he's not the first manager to obviously want to flash out almost the entire squad, you know. There are very many managers that have gone ahead to come in here and they've tried to do that and they haven't gone ahead to succeed, you know. And the same players they've gone ahead to obviously want to sell and they are not sold by the club have resulted into the reason of them getting sacked out of the club. So I want to let you know that Ruben Amorim has a very huge job to do, because when you're to talk about the players that maybe he wants out, you'll think of John Evans, you'll talk about Eriksson, you'll talk about after Eriksson, you'll talk about Casemiro, though he's really having a decent last part of the season. You'll talk about I've had Rasmus Højlund, Onana, there is Anthony, Marcus Rashford, there is Malacia. So the list might obviously have 10 players, but when has United ever exited 10 players? You know, apart from those leaving as free agents in Eriksson and John Evans, can we really let the likes of Sancho off? You know, so that's the job for Manchester United, and I would rather see these players leave and we introduce the academy players. if you don't have money to bring in other players, because these academy players will obviously put in a very huge heart and they will fight for the shirt, like you saw Rasmus, like you saw Harry Amers do it at the St. James's Park. So that's exactly what the club of Manchester United has to do. But I think however much Ruben Amorim fumes at the club of Manchester United, it's not in his hands. Ten Hag handed in a list of players wanted to leave, and they never left, most of them, because of the heavy salaries these players had gone ahead obviously earn, and they're not really willing to obviously take a pay cut if at all they really made a transfer to other teams. That's why these players can be here. Does Ineos have a different formula of executing things as far as Amorim's not wanted players here exiting Manchester United is concerned? I leave behind that question for you, and I call upon for your reactions into the comment section below. Rokan David is my name. Amorim furious at United players. He has fired a last warning to them. Guys, good night to those going to bed, and those that are really doing great, please go ahead and really wait for us, as we might be dropping another video in a nick of time. Good night. Rokan David is my name. United Matters channel it is. Amorim furious at United players. Bye bye.